Oh, look at this. I mean, not that it's that important, but yeah, looking good. That's pretty sharp looking marine. I believe that's a marine. Anyway, he didn't seem too happy to be photographed. Mostly they are. Yeah, only in New York. The white limo was clutch, man. Oh, you're dancing, huh? You're dancing up, baby. There you go. Yeah, all right. That's all you need, man. That's all you need. Yeah, I'm 60 years old. I had to catch a 30-year-old guy playing with his, whatever that was, you know. I was born in 1958 in New York City. That was the year that Edward Weston died. I saw a lot of crazy shit, and in the 70s I wish I had my camera, but I was sort of hanging out with some outlaws who did not want to be photographed. So then I was driving a cab in the late 70s, and I saw so many amazing things. I mean, things on the street, people having sex, people having knife fights. How many times do you say, I wish I had a camera? I mean, I see this guy fucking his girlfriend on the hood of a car in broad daylight, but in the Lower East Side. And I go get gasoline with my friend, I come back and now his friend is getting a blowjob, and it's like broad daylight. And my friend looks at me, damn, if only we had a camera. I'm like, yeah, if only we had a camera. I'm actually taking a selfie, and I don't take selfies. And I told you I don't take selfies, but you said you wanted one for the format. So I'm getting a selfie, something I really don't do. Shit, I'm not good at this. Or with Duffy in the background. So finally, in 1984, about a week or two after I was robbed at double gunpoint, I was very grateful to still be alive. I walked into Competitive Camera on 7th Avenue and 31st Street near Madison Square Garden, and I bought an AE1 for $149. 84 was the year Winogrand died. So I was born the year Edward Weston died, and I started taking photographs the year Winogrand. That's the timeline of my early part of my career. Driving a cab 7 days a week, it's like 100, 150 miles a day. You really cover a lot of ground, all 5 boroughs. Instead of considering myself a cab driver who had a camera, after a couple of years I definitely considered myself a photographer who had a cab. So it gave me cover because nobody even thought to look in the cab to see that I was photographing them, you know? So it was like, this sort of was a shield. And then selling the cab, I had to learn how to photograph on the street. And that took a long time because you're used to being hidden. You're hiding, and all of a sudden you're on the street and you're not hiding. And it takes a while to develop the moves and the, hey, what's up? And the whole attitude that, like, you know, you're not doing anything wrong. I've never gotten beaten up too badly because if I saw it, hey man, I'm very quick to apologize. Would you rather apologize than get your teeth knocked out? So you kind of know when things are going bad. And also when I was young, I was fast. I could run. I could outrun a bad guy. I could outrun a cop. I outran plenty of cops. You know, I was skinny and I could run. Now forget about it. Now all I have is my jab. You know, hey guy, look man, you're beautiful, man. I meant no disrespect to you. You're great. You're great. My bad. You're great. Do whatever you have to do to keep your teeth in your mouth. But I can't help it sometimes. I see a situation that looks interesting. I'm like, I don't shoot from the hip. And they're like, hey you, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. You know. Looking back at my work, I found out that I like three of a kind. 4 or 5, I guess, is even better than that, but 3 is what triggers me. 3 people with sunglasses, or 3 people with the same color shirt. Of all the 3 of a kind shots, there's one that stands out. I was with my friend Dave Beckham and another very talented New York City photographer. I saw 3 people like suits with Starbucks cups. I sort of jumped in front of him and said, I'm gonna get the shot. And I said, and this is film, by the way, and I said, I just nailed it. And Dave was like, yeah, whatever. And a few weeks later, I developed the film and came out and it was perfect. You know, you could take 100 tries and never get, it was just one of those, oh, wow. In the mid-'80s, just when I started getting my camera, fortunately or unfortunately, everything started getting torn down. I photographed everything I could find that was like, had an old neon sign on it. It looked like, you know, it was in danger of being torn down. So I got a few hundred pictures that are kind of dear to my heart of the old city that I grew up in. We walked down towards the scene of my famous image, which I was probably eating a hamburger and sitting in my taxi cab where they had taxi parking only when the 3 sailors walked by. And the 3 sailors is my favorite shot. So like, just look at that NASDAQ thing, right? Take a good photo of it, and then you'll get my shot from 30 years ago. two of them are staring right at me, and it's like, whoa, who the fuck are you? And it's just a great New York shot, because you can take photos of sailors, but the backdrop was so perfect, you know? Although the one Marine is also equally poignant, because he's like deciding, should I go in or not? He's from out of town, he's like probably never been in one, right? He's on leave, and he's just standing there looking all by himself, do I want to go in? I mean, I want to have a valid remnant of the time that we're talking about, before Batman took over, you know?
Hey, welcome to
Hey, buddy.
the city.
Thank you. But let's go across here. I want to show you the last remnant, you know, the last remnant right here. Show World, that's what it's called, right here. See? Under the graffiti. But right here, this old sign from the 80s, Show World Center, open 24 hours. There were like naked girls dancing. I never was in there. I drove my cab. I didn't run into these places. Honestly, I can't tell you what went on in there. I have friends who've said that you could like peep through a hole and watch a woman do crazy things or whatever. I took a photo of a guy about a year ago because I was photographing this sign, and the guy was big, and he looked at me and he said, motherfucker, and I quickly crossed the street and went into the bus station. He followed me and then gave up. But it was not going to be a good thing. He had at least 20 or 30 pounds on me. He was angry, and he had good reason to be angry, because I kind of waited for him to make the photo more interesting. I'm not going to be one of those guys who cries about how great it was when there was pornography and there were guys selling fake drugs on the corners and all that stuff, and people were mugging you, and there were prostitutes everywhere. I'm not going to cry that that was so wonderful, but it was kind of interesting because you had to keep your eyes open, otherwise you get robbed. And also, New York was a place where anybody could afford to live, I mean, including Manhattan. But that's it right there. Well, that's it. That's it. That's all that's left. That one sign there, you know? It's amazing that it's still there. Yeah. Hey, what's up, buddy? Well, as we've talked before, you know, we've talked many times. You've been here. I got a picture of you in a blizzard in 2002, which I did send you. He's like the last trace of anything risque in Times Square, because Disney has taken over and it's just like purified everything. Hairstyles, the clothing, and the store in the back, and the car, it's all gone. And anything you're photographing in 2018, and you're looking at it in 2043, and you'll see all these things in your photographs that'll make you feel good 25 years later. Wow, good for you, man. All right.
See you again.
All right. They want money. I give about $3 a day to homeless people. That's about all I can afford, $3. I can't even afford that, but I do, for certain people, give them $1, and they're always grateful. I want to give them a 10 or a 20, but I got to feed myself and my daughter, and I'm not making shit, you know, so what do, you know? I've never been cheap with my photos. I mean, I'm going to be dead one day, and all I'm going to have left of my life, pretty much besides my daughter, hopefully, is the work I've done. So I wanted to get out there, you know? Maybe she can sell a few photos, you know. Really, that's all I'm looking for, is the next good image.
Yeah.
I'm not worrying about the next $100 or $1,000. I could care less. I know my time is limited, and I'm just looking for the next perfect shot where everything comes together.